Welcome back to Singly Loving. I'm Kate, and today I am doing a Q&A. I have gotten several questions over the last months doing this YouTube channel, and today I'm finally going to be answering some of those. I also collected a few questions from Instagram. I will tell you, I'm going to be doing a second part to this Q&A, specifically questions that come in through Instagram. So go follow me over there, Singly Loving, and I will be answering those in Q&A part 2 coming very soon. So let's get started. All right, so I've got my questions here, and I'll just start, no particular order, but I'll start with some of the basics first. So first, how many foster children have I had? So a little bit of background, I'm a single foster parent, been doing this about 2.5 years now, and I have had, I believe it's 11. I counted before I recorded this, and I'm pretty sure it was 11. Super wide range of how long they've stayed, so everything from 1 day to my longest is almost a year now in my home. Most of those were single cases that came in. The last couple have been sibling sets. All right, next question. How old was I when I started fostering? Let's see, 2.5 years. I think I was about 30. Is that right? 29. I think I was 29 when I started fostering. This is probably the most common question. How do I juggle working full-time with being a single foster parent? This is really hard. My answer probably varies day to day. I don't juggle it very well sometimes, and other times I do. I will say that having work full-time is a great outlet a lot of times, a great way for me to go and like recharge and do something that, you know, I'm, besides mothering, besides parenting, and besides foster care that I'm passionate about. I get to go and do that at work. I do love my job, but other times it feels very draining. It feels like I never have time to do anything except work and parent, so I never have time to grocery shop or clean or take care of myself, things like that. So it is a really, really hard juggle, but foster care allows me the ability to put my kids into daycare and have that paid at least part of the way by the state. My kids are also in daycare right now. Not right now, not because of COVID, but generally in the fall they will go back to preschool and daycare. And so that does allow me to work full-time, but I also would say I need to have a really flexible job for this. I know people that have done it without such a flexible job that I have, but it would be hard. There's lots of appointments, there's lots of needs. Kids get sick even if they weren't foster kids, and there's visits that need to happen in your home. There's lots of things that need to happen, so a flexible job is really, really great, or at least a job that is supportive of what you do, and will allow you to take those hours or days off when you need them. How do I take care of myself as a single foster parent? Great follow-up question. A couple things. I know I do a couple things. I feel like I could do a lot better job taking care of myself, but one thing is I get a monthly massage. I started doing it back when I had one of my very first infant, actually, so it's been a couple years. I've been getting monthly massages, sometimes do a month. And honestly, it started with a medical issue. I was having such bad neck and back issues that I had to do something, or I just wasn't functioning. I wasn't sleeping. It was bad. And it's not as much medical anymore. It sort of is, though. It's like a mental health need. And it's keeping my neck and my shoulders where I kind of carry my stress. It's keeping those things from flaring back up. But that is one way I do it. I love going to coffee shops. And so anytime I do get time to myself, or when I have the opportunity, a lot of times I have the opportunity to work from home or remotely. And so I'll work from a coffee shop where I'm just like, love the environment, get to drink my favorite coffee, and I'm working. So I'm kind of accomplishing, like, taking care of myself while also doing the things I need to do. I make sure that, like, in the evenings I don't schedule too much. So to some degree it's been really sad to me to have to like have such a sparse social life. I don't get babysitters during the evenings very often. I used to more, but I don't as much anymore. I just spend that time to myself. I'm an introvert and I need time to recharge and be by myself, and I watch documentaries and watch YouTube and learn different things because that's what fills me. I love to learn about random things. So I take care of myself that way. I've mentioned this in other videos, but I make sure that I have other foster parents, people that totally understand my situation, that I can go to. And I actually have somebody I talk to every week, and a lot of times unpacked the really hard things in foster care or in my personal life or whatever they are. And I can unpack those with her. I have a couple people that are like that in my life. Next question. How many bedrooms in the setup of my house? So I have 3 bedrooms in my house. One is mine, one is for my boys, and then the other one is sort of our open bedroom for foster care. Right now I have a twin bed and a crib set up in there. Eventually I think I'm gonna have 2 cribs set up in there. Not confident that I'll be taking a second 2 anytime, but who knows. This summer, if you've been following along, we had 4 at one point, so my sibling set that I have long-term, and then another sibling set, and that's why I have the bedroom set up the way it is. So in foster care, you can have opposite genders in the same room up until age 5, I believe it is. And then they need to be in separate bedrooms, like only the same genders in those bedrooms. So, and because they were a sibling set, it made sense for them, they were super close, it made sense for them to be in the same bedroom this time around, and they were 1 and 4. So it wasn't an issue either way. Okay, I got a question about, will I adopt the baby that was in my care? This was back when I had an infant. And then the same person asked another question, and it was, did I choose the age range that I fostered? So great questions. As you might not know if you're not a foster parent or really know about the foster care system, but it's actually meant to help reunify families and keep families together. And so even though I've had infants in my home, my intention ever since I've began fostering was not to adopt. It was to help in the process of reunification and to love my neighbor and to be there for people and to help the vulnerable. And foster care, for so many reasons, is a great place to help people that are having really hard time and need support and need relationships. And I want to be one of those relationships. And so even when I had the infants in my home, yes, I got attached to them. Yes, it was like they were my own. I was the only mom they had ever known out of the womb. And but I always knew that they had biological family, and the best thing for them was going to be to get back to their biological family as quickly as possible. It doesn't always happen, but that was my goal until that could no longer happen. So even when I had the infant, this question was asked in the video when I had it was my 3rd little baby. And so no, I didn't end up. He actually had family that they were in the process of trying to get him to, but in the interim they needed a foster parent, and that's where I stepped in. And then the second part of that, did I choose the age range? Yes, you get to actually give a lot of preference about age range, and so my age range was 0 to 10. And I have actual foster placements, not just respite care, but the oldest foster placement I've had has only been 4. So all the rest were under 4, lots of babies, and mostly boys. I had my first girl this summer. Let's see, how do I handle saying goodbye? It's different every time. Every time is different. Sometimes it's honestly celebration, for everyone, they didn't want to be here any longer because they're attached to their family. They're in a stranger's home. They didn't want to be here. And I felt that way too. I just maybe didn't bond with them the same way or whatever. So it's different every time. It kind of depends on what I've known about the case from the beginning. If I've known from the beginning that it's probably going to be a while, that makes the goodbyes a little bit harder because I don't know, you just work harder at bonding or kind of adjust your expectations a little bit different. But I've had several cases now, unfortunately, where I was told it would be very short and then it wasn't. And so the longer it went, it was hard because mentally I was prepared for short, for something different, for it to not interrupt, you know, things I have in my calendar way in the future, just things like that. It's not that I still don't like love the kids and do my best and work on bonding with them. I think bonding is important, whether they're going to, no matter how long they're going to be here, they need to have the like continual throughout their life experience of having a trusted adult. And so I try to be that, but I just haven't bonded the same way. So it's all that to say, it has not been hard sometimes to say goodbye, and other times it's been very, very difficult. But the one thing that it has always been is strange. Like, it's like you're not meant to do this. You're not meant to love and care for and nurture and help raise a child, and then in a few hours sometimes they're gone, and like you just like come back home and wonder, you know, oh, I miss hearing their laugh, oh, I miss hearing them play, and or miss their cry, or, you know, whatever it is. I remember after my first little guy left, he was actually my second placement, but my first little baby, after he left, I would still wake up thinking I was hearing him cry. And, you know, I'd get in the car and kind of internally freak out for a minute, like, oh, I forgot him. But no, I didn't. He doesn't live here anymore. So it was hard. And I honestly got some counseling, because you're not meant to go through that. And those are types of things that as a foster parent you sign up to say yes to, and you need sometimes some extra support to work through those really hard things that were never meant to be, but they are, and we've chosen to take them on and carry that burden for these kids. So, next question, does foster parenting change how I file for taxes? Okay, so far in my experience it has not, because like I said, I've had very short placements. So as far as I know, the tax rule is if you've had them more than 6 months, so like 6 months and a day, or over half their life, so say they were born in November, and then you're filing for that year's taxes, you can claim them on your taxes. So I have yet to have a situation where I've had them more than 6 months of a year. So like this tax year, so like this, you know, next 2021, when I file taxes for 2020, will be the first time you can claim, like I'll be able to claim foster children on my taxes. So I'll have to figure out how that works, but those are the rules as far as I know, 6 months and a day or more, or over half their life. You can claim them as a dependent on your taxes. Okay, so the next one is, why don't I share much about my kids on YouTube anymore? And I guess the basic answer is for their safety. I, at one point, shared a little bit more. I think when I started YouTube, I was thinking this would be a great way to kind of chronicle what's going on as my journey as a foster parent. And it is, but I have done some just like thinking about my passions with this channel and where I want it to go, and I would love to be more of an advocate. I think there is a place for people who are wanting to foster to kind of like really see the real life of it, and there are other channels that can go show you that, but that's not where I feel comfortable. I definitely want to keep my kids safe, and I also don't feel like I'm much of a vlogger. Like, that's not really my style. More sit down videos, information, real life, giving you a peek into how I did this as a single foster parent, rather than like entertaining you with my family's life. So my kids might kind of poke in and out of videos here and there, but I never want them to be like the entertainment of the video. The last question is a doozy. It is, what parenting styles do not work for my trauma kids? I mentioned that in the video that I have learned a lot about parenting kids with trauma, and I feel like I've just scratched the surface in my own personal journey in this. So what parenting styles don't work? I would say very authoritarian. We end up in a lot of battles. Like we end up, or is it authoritative? Whatever one is like, I'm the boss, you're the kid. Trust me, I've tried it. I have tried parenting my kids. I still catch myself doing it, saying like, who's the mom? I'm the mom, you're the kid. That just ends up in battles. That makes my kiddos want to rise up and be bigger, and to be able to keep trying to squash me. Like, my kids have been through so much. They have had to fend for themselves, and that just doesn't work. Another one is to be very punitive, like make everything a punishment. So, you know, for not obeying or not, you know, doing whatever they've been asked, to give timeouts, like make everything into like, if you don't, then this is gonna happen to you, right? Take this away, you will get this punishment, you won't be able to do this, like all of those things. And I definitely think there's a place for those things, but for that to be my constant style, it doesn't work. I get into ruts where I feel like that's all I can do is like take away, take away, take away, and then they don't have anything. And think about it for our trauma kids, like for some of them at least, they already didn't have much. They already had everything taken away when they came into your home. Like, what is you taking away one more thing? It doesn't get the kinds of changes long term that I want to see. It might get me that quick fix or get them to listen right then, but then the next time they haven't actually learned what it is they should do. So I try to like keep some of those techniques for like very sparingly situations. In general, I use more of like a connected approach. That's my goal, is to use more of a connected approach, to think of it more as like discipline is discipling. If you're familiar with that word, it's teaching. So if they've done something wrong, to stop them, get down on their level, try to understand where they're coming from. Maybe there's some emotions we need to identify, and then help correct that behavior with the right thing to do. So to be honest, I feel like I came from a line of thinking with parenting that was, I'm the adult, you're the kid, you listen to me, you don't know anything, like you just need to be put in your place, and like we're gonna punish anything else out of you, and call it correction and call it discipline, but really it's just getting the result I want immediately, and not actually training the child to know what to do the next time, you know, they're faced with a choice or a mistake or something like that. So it's taken a lot the last couple years to like untrain myself from that line of thinking, that says it's more important to get it now than to train the child long term to make those really good choices for themselves. So yeah, those are the techniques that have not worked for me. If you have any other questions, please let me know. Like I said, follow me on Instagram, because I'll be doing a little question box over there in my stories for, actually by the time this goes up, you'll miss the question box, but hopefully you follow me there. I'll do more of these Q&As in the future, so feel free to private message me some questions, and I'll try to answer those for you, either directly or on another Q&A. Thanks for watching. Bye.